Like,
Yeah, it's one of the things I picked up over the pandemic is cutting my hair.
yeah, everybody's doing it, right? Everybody's
Might as well. I
the
mean,
self cut.
might as well pick up a trade or two,
Yeah.
make some side hustle money. Like it's took me a
Yep.
year to start doing that, but whatever. Anyway, welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
To the TV Time Machine podcast.
I am Luis.
And I'm Adam.
And we love TV. We got to start saying that in unison to be fun.
Yeah. Let's do
Adam,
this.
Adam. What a week it's been.
Indeed.
Everything good on your end?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it. That's what I like to hear.
Busy, but good.
Busy is always good.
Doing a rewrite and
A rewrite.
Yep. Or not a rewrite, but I'm finishing up that script, but I started going through because there was parts that I didn't flesh out that I intended to flesh out that I kind of wrote like short novelizations of,
Oh wow.
So then I'm going back through and it's adding some pages because I'm like, I feel like I should be at a higher page number as far as what's happening in the story and everything. And then I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to like fill those things out. So
no worries. This weekend was different. Kids were over yesterday just for one day of the weekend, and we're going to make it up next week because I had some family stuff on that end to do. So
yeah,
I decided just to get back and get the bike out for the summer and spring and cut my hair, do a little side hustle, try to raise some funds for our next feature, and then get on that social media game with our TikToks and our Instagram. I got my first TikTok hater today, like a super racist woman, like commented on my, on TikTok, you can make a video on someone's comment, and she commented on mine. And she said, well, with your kind, of course, you're going to expect free handouts. And I wrote, my kind? I said, did I just get racist? And she goes, oh, no, I meant Democrats. And I'm like, well, what makes you think I'm a Democrat, even though I am a Democrat? Why would you assume that? She goes, oh, just your tone. I'm like, yeah, just my tone, Karen. Careful, Karen.
Yeah.
People are watching.
I think also older generations don't realize that everybody's kind of helping each other out with their projects. That's just like the new way,
Yeah.
Like someone, I contribute to people, people are like, oh, I just need $5 for this. If this many people give me $5, and it's like, yeah, no big deal. Cool. See something cool. Okay, cool.
All I said is that I was happy for the free education because I honestly didn't understand what she meant by this military militia thing. I said, thank you for the free education. And then she goes into, well, of course, your kind want some free handouts. Listen, bitch, I don't have time for this shit, okay? I will fucking blast your ass over the internet if you want me to, but I'm going to be nice. And she's, of course, claiming to be a Christian, so obviously. Anyway, we're going to get into our show now. I'm going to not worry about that. This is an excellent topic. Saddest television episodes.
Gosh.
And you even reached out to people and our followers, and no one's really commented yet. People comment mostly during the week because that's when they're wanting to distract themselves from work. So we'll get some love on this, but we got to reach out from a couple of podcasts that want to be on the show, which is cool. The one with the two girls. Mm-hmm. And then on Matchmaker, we got some folks. So this is starting to grow a little bit.
Yeah. And Dick from the podcast Off the Cuffs is also going to come on.
Dick.
We were bandmates in a few different bands over the years. And I remember like 8 years ago, he was like, yeah, I want to be a full-time podcaster. That's what I want to do for a living. I think I can be successful at that. And he is. He's like,
he manifested it.
Yeah.
Manifested that shit.
He did. That's all he does now. That's all he does.
I'm going to manifest that we're going to come in right under what we need for our SAG contract for our next feature. Then we're going to get sponsored by Rhino, and then we're going to do this to pay for our films. I just manifested it.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Hey, universe, do your thing.
It's just now a matter of time. Right.
Matter of time. And in the meantime, we're going to keep grinding, putting these episodes out. So
Shout Factory is gonna sponsor us too.
did you
We
say
both
that?
keep Shout Factory.
Yeah, shout out to the Shot Factory. Shout out to our unsponsored sponsor, Pluto TV. They don't know they're sponsoring us. That doesn't matter.
They will be soon.
Shout out to our other unsponsored sponsor, Wake Up Call in Spokane.
Yeah. And I'm drinking the CO2.
Awesome.
Coconut.
I just love how they don't know we're getting sponsored, but we know. You don't have to pay us yet. We love you. We're going to sponsor you anyway. All right. So
let's get into these episodes.
I got your list. Crazy enough, about 6 or 7 of these are on my list, which is not a surprise. I'll let you begin.
Well, you know what? The episode I just thought of, I don't even know if it was on my list, but when you started talking, I thought about, remember the episode of Family Matters?
When Brian dies?
When Eddie, Family Matters. When Eddie
Family Matters
gets profiled. When Eddie gets profiled.
Oh no, I don't
by
remember
the cops.
That.
Oh yeah, he gets he's in a, and I think they say this at the end. He's in a white neighborhood. So he gets pulled over and forced out of the car, forced to lay on the ground. They point a gun at his head, all this stuff, all this nonsense. And I think he gets arrested too. So then his father, Carl comes in his police uniform to bail him out.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then finds out where those guys hang out and confronts them in a bar. But yeah, that episode shook me so much, especially living in New York where you saw that kind of thing go down. I mean, not where I was living as a kid, but my dad took us into the city all the time. So yeah.
That brings back, I remember that episode. A couple of topics here. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air has a heartbreaking episode. Papa's Got a Brand New Excuse with my dad's ex-cocaine partner, Ben Vereen. They used to do coke together back in the day.
Oh, wow.
On Broadway. Hey, Dad, I'm sure you're happy I shared that fact. But Fresh Prince of Bel-Air had an episode where Will and Carlton were pulled over, put in prison randomly because they were driving around.
Oh.
And then Uncle Phil shows up.
That's when they were in college, right?
This was episode 2 or 3 right off the cuff.
Okay. So they were
Season
still in
1.
high school.
Uncle Phil walks in and threatens the guy with legal action because he's a judge, in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
And man, big impact. 12 years old, being kind of this is going to be my reality now. This could be my reality at some point,
Yeah.
Not fun. I guess since we're on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episode, season 4, episode 24, entitled Papa's Got a Brand New Excuse, completely, I think, took most viewers out of completely by surprise.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
That one, man, it's really sad. It's really sad. And
there's not a death per se. There's a death of a perception.
Yeah.
For someone that you care about. That's sad.
And they set it up where you don't feel like it's going to happen, even though everybody feels like it's going to happen. I just rewatched it. And it doesn't even, I remember it too, but I still, there's no hint that anything is going to go wrong, he's just going to go travel around with his dad all summer.
And they're at a carnival or a Chuck E. Cheese or something.
Oh, they do go to a carnival. And they go to an amusement park. Yeah. And they do roller coasters and stuff. Yeah.
And Will is already in his early 20s at this point, right?
Yeah.
Man. And
then because because he comes to meet him where he works at the college at the Peacock.
It's motherfucker, if you don't want to be in this kid's life, don't fucking show up.
Yeah.
I, as a dad, and you as a dad.
Mm-hmm.
Those moments where they're constantly in your face asking for things, or dad, look at this, dad, look at this, dad, look at this. It's like anytime I find myself being like, okay, I get it, then I try to remember, like, yeah, there's going to be a day where I'm going to be like, hey, look at this, look at this. And they're going to be like, go away, old man. It's just so heartbreaking. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air had a reunion on HBO Max. They
I
talk
still
about
haven't seen it.
they talk about this episode. They talk about how James Avery, Will had not done this kind of acting on the show before. This kind of became a trope for the show. This set the precedent for like their very own, very special episodes.
Yeah.
James Avery could tell Will was, from what I remember in this reunion, I think Will had missed the mark about 4 times, couldn't get there. And James at one point held him close and just said, this is your moment. Like, just go for it. And he nailed it. And there's a moment when they're hugging and embracing, and James Avery's whispering. He's like, yeah, now that's acting. You've got it. Because Will was always the funny.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a goofy show. So that came out of
Mm-hmm.
left field, and it was just so heartbreaking. And then they pan over to the statue of the father embracing the baby.
Yeah.
I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. Like, I don't understand how you could not want to be in your kid's life. And Ben Vereen nailed it out of the park. He nailed it. Played the biggest scumbag piece of shit.
So good. He was on a favorite show of mine, but we won't talk about that show right now. But
all right, let's go ahead. Moving on to
it's off topic. But then there was the other Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Will gets shot.
Yeah.
At the ATM.
And Carlton has a gun. He's hiding.
Yeah, because Carlton, the guy's going to shoot Carlton because Carlton's reaching into his pocket to get more money. He's like, I have more money. And the guy's like, get your hands out of your pockets, And so Will like pushes him out of the way, and Will gets shot instead.
And that's like getting heavy on a Monday night for NBC.
And then the whole, Alfonso, has this like monologue where he like goes off on his dad saying that like everything he taught him about law and order and the system,
it's upside down.
He's like, it doesn't work. And he's like, where was the system at the ATM or something like that? And like the dad, James like has this comeback, and he's just like, he gets in the elevator and he's like, I'm not a kid anymore, Dad. Stop telling me fairy tales. And then he goes and buys a gun, But then,
I remember that.
Yeah,
he was gonna go out and kill people.
Yeah, he was like
gonna go try to start shit and be like fucking.
He was like, I'm gonna make my own set of rules.
Who's the Death Wish guy?
Alfonso says that to Will.
Yeah, but he was gonna go out and basically do like a Death Wish style.
Yeah, that's what he.
I guess
that's what he meant, like with his gun. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna make my own set of rules.
That's when the Fresh Prince turned dark. Carlton becomes a vigilante. Death Wish 4.
But I feel like I remember there was another episode when they were in college and they got like robbed in their house or something happened. People ran up in their house. Do you remember this?
Like a home invasion?
Do you remember they had like an off-campus apartment together? Mm-mm. Yeah, it was like a home invasion or something like that. I don't remember. I should have tried to search for it before we talked about this, but I had this weird memory of an episode where
I'm in shock. I've never heard.
I remember they're in their boxers too. They're playing strip poker when the guys come in. These guys come in, and like Carlton feels like super violated, because he was in his boxers and stuff. And
he was always so cut when they would show him without a shirt. The audience would go nuts because he was so cut.
Yeah.
All right, I will have to look that up. Everyone, please look that season and episode number up. And if you do, you get a $5 Amazon gift card for the first person that finds that episode. Moving on, I'm shocked. And I I feel bad at my job on the show. The Simpsons season 6, episode 13, and Maggie Makes 3. I don't know anything about this.
Oh, it's heart-wrenching. I like wish we could show the clip, but like even a shortened version of the highlights is still like 3 or 4 minutes long.
Oh, so give us an elevator pitch of that. What happens?
Basically, after like Marge and Homer have Bart and Lisa. They don't think they're gonna have any other kids because they're like Lisa's like 5 or 6 at this, and it's a flashback episode where he's like telling the family a story about why, because they ask why there's no pictures of Maggie in the house. And so he starts telling this story. And so he starts a bowling alley called Barney's Bowlerama. I believe that was what it was called. And and it's not making money, they're not really making money, but he's just like, whatever. And then Marge finds out she's pregnant. So then he like has to close the bowling alley and go back to work at the plant.
Is that a real episode, or was that like a?
No, it's a real episode. Yeah. So
I mean,
he goes back to the plant, and at the front desk they're like, new applicant, and he's like, no, I actually quit and I've come to beg for my job back. And so she's like, okay. And there's a door, like a tiny door that he has to like crawl through, and it goes like straight to Burns's office. And he like begs for his job back, and Burns gives him like hangs a plaque up in his work area that says don't, gosh, it's really important what it says. Don't.
Was it like saving his space in case?
No, it basically says, oh, don't ever think of leaving or something like that. Don't, it's like basically says you belong to me, like this plaque, like you're gonna like work here till you die sort of thing. And so then there's like something else happens, because it's like a while later and he finishes telling the story, and Bart's like, or Lisa's like, but why aren't there any pictures of Maggie? And he's like, because I put them where I needed them most. And this like simple, he says this, and then there's just a still shot of his office, and it's the plaque where it said the thing. Gosh, what did it say? And he covered up the words on the plaque with pictures of Maggie, so that now the plaque says, do it for her.
No.
And it's just like instant tears,
Really?
Because it's like, if you've ever, if you're a father and you've ever given up what you were doing with your passion to work, to provide for your kids, it's super relatable. And it's just a cut. It's just like, he says this thing, they were where I needed them most. And then it cuts and you see this and you just start crying. It's all these pictures of Maggie. Yeah, it's so, I'm going to start crying.
For the Simpsons. No, that's
it's super sad for the Simpsons, and you don't expect it, and the whole episode is sad. I cried like 3 or 4 different times during that episode, when he gives up when he's like, I got to give up the bowling alley, give up my dream. And then when he is groveling for his job back, and Burns is basically telling him he's going to be his slave.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. It's a really,
for those that want to reference this episode, it's season 6, episode 13. It's on Disney Plus, and it's And Maggie Makes 3.
Yeah.
We're going to take our first break, the TV Time Machine podcast and talk about some more sad TV moments. Please keep the comments coming on your saddest TV moments ever.
Yes.
And I want to get a death count too of the Grey's Anatomy characters that have been killed off, because it's a lot of them. Sometimes
If
simultaneously.
anybody knows that, just leave it in the comments.
Leave it in the comments. We will be right back.